All right, we're going to call the Full Ways and Means Committee to order. Representative Bentley. We've got two bills on the calendar. They're Senate bills. We are going to accommodate our Senate brethren for a while at least. And so anyway, Senator Walker, come tell us about your bill, please, sir. This is Senate Bill 133 LC 401296. And there is a fiscal note on your pad.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. I appreciate your consideration of this bill that I feel like is a pro-small business, pro-job bill. As I said earlier, I think we a lot of times focus our economic development efforts anyway on the larger businesses when in reality it's the small business that is the backbone of most of our economies. It's the small business that sponsors the Little League teams and helps out the band and that kind of thing. So what this bill does is very straightforward and simple. We have a corporate net worth tax on C Corps and S Corps. This corporate net worth tax does not apply to LLCs. It doesn't apply to sole proprietorships. It doesn't apply to limited partnerships, just C Corps and S Corps. And it is a banded tax based on the net worth of the business. And if you look at page 2 of the bill, you will see the bands. So the minimum tax is for businesses with a net worth not exceeding $10,000. They would pay a $10 tax. And then the maximum tax is on page 3. Businesses with a net worth of over $22 million pay $5,000. I've got a few small businesses that own real estate, that kind of thing, and I have been frustrated over the years by this tax because I've had to remit $10 for the small business, and it just seems like it doesn't make any sense. It can't be, certainly doesn't seem like it's profitable to handle that small of a transaction for the Department of Revenue to have to be fooling with it. We know the Department of Revenue is strained sometimes on getting their work out and getting returns processed and getting people their refunds. We've seen that the last.
So is this a department bill?
It is not a department
Okay.
bill, no, sir. But I think would help the Department of Revenue somewhat with their workload. Anyway, my proposal is for businesses with a net worth not exceeding $100,000, it would eliminate this tax altogether. The last year, the figures I was given, 121,000 Georgia businesses paid the minimum $10 tax. Which was a pretty shocking number that I had to actually do that. If this bill passes, then we would actually relieve 176,000 small businesses from having to pay this corporate net worth tax.
Questions from the committee? Representative Teasley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Senator, for bringing this bill. I applaud what you're doing here. And we have, as a general rule, taxed income and productivity and not what you're worth. And I appreciate what you're trying to do here. Did you say there are 176,000 businesses that this would relieve? And we're talking about, if you were talking about net worth of under 100,000, we are truly talking about our small businesses. You said there are 176,000 companies that this would. How many?
That's the figure I was given. Yes.
That is
pretty staggering and
shocking.
That's
astonishing.
That's what I was given by Senate research.
And
now, I know in the Senate we're not as good with math, but
Yeah, we may double check that.
this certainly would be if we're able to remove this tax, not only do we remove this tax from them, but the paperwork that goes along with it, and allow them to focus on investing that back into their business and their employees. So thank you for bringing this measure.
Thank you for the question.
All right, Representative Carson.
Thank you, right over here, Senator Walker. Thank you for bringing this. Can you, I'm just thinking through, first of all, I agree with Vice Chairman Teasley. I very much appreciate you bringing this. I think we should be taxing income and really consumption as opposed to net worth. Second of all, so I applaud you for that. Second of all, can you tell me the corporations other than C corporations that this would apply to? Would it apply to S corps, or they qualify as a pass-through and they wouldn't, this would not apply to them?
Well, S corps don't pay income tax, but they do pay the corporate net worth.
They do pay the
tax.
corporate
So
tax.
just S corps and C corps is the only two types of entities that pay the corporate net worth tax.
I'm just trying to think, would there be any, if you had a company with a net worth of 110,000, and by the way, this net worth, when is that measured? As of their annual audit, or
12/31.
12/31 every year?
Yes, sir.
Or if they have a different year for fiscal or tax reporting, is that correct?
I would assume so, but
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I might have another question later but I'm good for now.
Chairman Stevens.
Kind of on a roll, Mr. Chairman. If I look at our reduction from the House version of a income tax rate from 6% down to some number in the fives, and we do something for corporations on the small level, quite on a roll here. So once we get to the proper time, I'd like to make a motion.
Representative Williamson.
I too thank the author of the bill for bringing this measure. But refresh my memory, is this included on your Georgia, the corporations or the S corporations income tax return, or is it a separate return that the taxpayer has to fill out each year? Frankly, I don't remember.
I think it's a separate form that is generally submitted as part of your Georgia income tax return, but it is a separate
Tax
page
return.
or separate form as part of that return.
Thank you again for bringing the measure.
Chairman Stevens, time for your motion.
Make a motion to pass.
I think your bill's rather popular, Senator. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Passes on to rules.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
And Representative Williamson's going to carry it for me in the House.
Okay.
I do appreciate that. Thank you, committee. We'll be hard at work on House bills in the Senate. Look forward to working with you all.
We'll get back to work.
Thank you.
Senator Black. And if you don't mind, I'm going to just ask Chairman Nix to sit up there with you, because he's got a specific interest in this bill as well. Tell us about your bill.
This little bill has to do with the division of E-Splosh in counties where that you have city school systems as well. Under state law, if you have
Randy, how about push your mic over there? I think that's the one that's alive.
okay. Under state law, if you have one or more city systems in a county, then all systems must pass a resolution to put it on the ballot to renew the E-Splosh. We've had a couple of situations where the smaller city system blackmailed the county into getting a higher percentage of the E-Splosh than what their FTE would call for. This would make the provisions that in such situations So where one would not sign a resolution, then the system or combination of systems that has a majority of the FTE can go ahead and put the resolution, put the question on the ballot. Give the citizens to vote on, all citizens in the county vote, and if it passes, all the schools get their share of the E-Splosh. It will be divided on FTE. There's also a provision in there that says if they can come to a separate agreement other than FTE, then they can do it differently. But if they don't come to an agreement, then it will be divided on the FTE. Any questions?
Are there questions? Is it my understanding, Chairman Nix, that you have carried identical legislation and have a particular interest in this bill and the passage of it that the senators brought?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have passed this through the House a couple of times, and it's always gotten stopped in the Senate Rules Committee. But the reason I brought it, the situation, one of the situations he talks about, I represent Carroll County. Carroll County is joining to Haralson County, and the city of Bremen sits a straddle those two counties. The city of Bremen has refused to do their resolution to put it on the ballot unless they get a certain amount of money. And the number I was given was they have to get roughly 4%. They asked for 4% before they'll let it go, and they have less than 0.5% of the number of students in the county. And if they don't get that, they will not allow it to go on there. This just says that they would not be able to hold that up. They would be able to pass it. And in the absence of an agreement, then the money would be distributed per student, per FTE, which I think is an equity issue, so that the other system wouldn't be held hostage because they refuse to allow it.
Thank you. Are there questions for the senator? Let's see, we've got Representative Bentley.
Senator Black, thank you for bringing this legislation. I just want to be absolutely clear that this does not affect counties like Dooley, Macon counties, those counties. All righty.
If there's only one school in that county, I mean, it's only about 17 counties. There's a couple of counties that's got 2, and there's one that's got 3 city systems.
Yes, sir.
So,
Okay, just want to make absolutely sure. Thank you again.
What's the pleasure of the committee? All right, there's a motion, a second to pass. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? No. Passes on to rules. Senator, who's going to carry it for you on the House side?
my good friend, Representative Nix.
Good choice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we have no further business. We are adjourned.